Hey George, it's Freestyle Friday. Did you remember to program 911 into the speed dial?
Yep, and I got a box of Band-Aids.
Welcome back to Freestyle Friday. I am on a mission to build the world's fastest homemade bench vise. Why? Well, because screwing around takes a lot of time. So my mission to create the world's fastest homemade bench vise today is an epic failure. The idea is sound, and I'm convinced if this was metal parts and maybe a little bit smaller and a little bit of tweaking, it would work really, really well. But form factor, this wood one, not working at all. But I recorded all this video, and I figured, you know what, I'm going to share it with you guys because not every build has to be a success. So what you've been watching is about an hour's worth of video that I condensed down to just a few seconds. And this is the point in the build where I realized that this is just not going to work. There's a whole lot of little tweaking that could happen that I could do that would make this work. But I figure, you know what, if I'm having a hard time building this and I've got all these little tweaking issues, it's just not worth it. It's going to be it's going to be just as hard for somebody else to build, you know, possibly even harder for a less experienced woodworker. So I'm just like, you know, at this point I'm just going to go ahead and finish the project. And it's a cool idea. The idea is really simple. It works off of a gear. There's a cam attached to that gear. When you push this lever, it actuates the gear. That gear actuates the cam. The cam pushes in, and there's this little ratchet that locks everything in place. So whatever position you happen to be in, you put a little extra pressure, the ratchet locks it in place, and Bob's your uncle, you got some clamping action. Now I already know what I'm going to do for the runners, the pieces that slide in and out of the bench, and I'll share that in my next video on next Friday. But for now, I just wanted to stop, go ahead and put the springs on this, and see if it would work. You know, see if there was any hope of saving this project. Now, I made a lot of mistakes on this one. This was probably the funniest one right here. I did a tap of a 1/4 thread, and then I tried to insert a 5/16 bolt into it. What are you gonna do, right? Okay, so now I just added these springs, and these springs are what hold that ratchet in place, that little ratcheting mechanism. So when you push down, it makes the clamp go out. The little ratchet thing locks it in place. Well, first of all, the ratchet arms are at that angle. They should really just be straight up into that little ratchet, section there, and not at an angle, because that was kind of really like letting the handle kind of slip up a little bit. Now, I knew this wasn't going to fail, but I went ahead and put a back brace on it just so I could see, you know, how it would play out. And there's a lot of play in this, and it's just not viable. There's too much tweaking to make it work. Now, it could work with a lot of tweaking and a lot of playing around, but during this process, I came up with several other ideas that are much easier to build and will still be, you know, much faster to build than this process as well. So I think I'm just going to abandon this at this point. I'll set it up on the shelf, and, you know, I'll look up at it from time to time and remember that not everything has to be perfect and not every build is going to be a great success. But I did want to share it with you guys because it is a really cool, you know, idea and concept. And we may play around with this at some point in the future. But for now, we're going to move on to the next idea. So next Friday, we're going to have a working bench vise that is hopefully the fastest homemade working bench vise ever. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll talk to you soon.
Get your free subscription by hitting the subscribe button.